Until 3 weeks ago, I was living what most would consider a simple and happy life. I'm a stay-at-home dad, probably on Reddit more than I care to admit. I met my wife, Noriko, or Nori for short, in Osaka, Japan, 12 years ago during a work trip for an advertising agency. Shortly after we started dating, Nori was offered a senior position at her company's newly opened New York City branch. At the time, I was living in Connecticut, but working remotely, so it was an easy decision to move in together in NYC. Plus, her mother has lived in Queens for the past 30 years, so it just made sense. 3 years later, we got married. The following spring, we had our son, Nicholas. Again, I'd like to emphasize that we've lived what I'd call a pretty normal life. We've had our ups and downs, but I've never experienced anything quite like what I'm about to share. 3 weeks ago, Nicholas pulled this little gizmo out of his backpack. At first glance, it reminded me of a Tamagotchi. A little piece of plastic that easily could fit in your pocket. 3 or 4 little buttons on the bottom and a cheap display up top. However, the design wasn't colorful like I remember Tamagotchis being. It was obsidian black. From a distance, you could easily mistake it for some kind of medical device. And even stranger, I never could actually see any pet on the display. Either way, Nori and I hadn't any clue where he got it from. We presume a friend at school must have gifted it to him. He called it his Tether pet, and was nothing short of obsessed with it. I mean, I could understand. I remember getting a Tamagotchi for Christmas when I was his age. It felt like you were responsible for some other life form. Your relationship with the toy often felt like a life or death situation. Nikki was certainly under a similar spell. So, that same Sunday, we piled into Nori's Corolla and took the BQ Expressway to Mount Sinai Hospital in Queens to visit her mum, Aki, who was suffering from bone cancer. Nikki was in the back seat, attending to his Tether pet. "How's your Tamagotchi, buddy?" "What?" Nikki is normally eager to yap Nori and I's ear off about whatever his fascination of the day is, but for whatever reason, his tone was flat and serious when discussing his Tether pet. "Fine." "Oh yeah? Do you have a name for him?" "It's a girl." "Oh, cool. What's her name?" "Baba. It came with the name. I didn't get to pick it." Nori tried to play along. "Baba? That's cute." "Not really. She's always hungry, and whenever she poops, I have to clean it up." I let out a laugh. "Reminds me of somebody that I used to know." "No, Dad. It's a lot of responsibility. You wouldn't understand." Nori and I laughed. Oh, the simple joys of parenthood. We arrived at Aki's room only to be held back by a couple of nurses. They asked us to wait while Grandma's bedpan was changed. It saddened me to think about how Aki had wilted over the past year. It didn't seem like long ago she was in our living room, bouncing Nikki on her knee, singing that silly old horse racing anthem. Bum-ba-da-dum-ba-da-bum-bum-bum, bum-ba-da-bum-ba-da-bum-bum-bum. Huh. Nikki loved that. He'd blown up in a fit of laughter every time. Now she couldn't even get out of her hospital bed. It crushed me. But I guess it had happened to me someday too. Before I could get too melancholy, a nurse opened the door with a smile. "She's ready to see you now." We stepped inside, and there was Aki, still glowing, albeit dimly, with her usual tender smile. Nicky seemed to snap out of his fog with her in sight, running to her bedside. "Grandma!" Aki tried to roll over and muster a hug for his reception, but it was clearly too much for her. Nori and I followed close behind. This had become a very difficult ritual for Nori to get used to. Aki told us about how her treatment had been going, how she was always in pain, but there was still a chance she could get through it. I don't know why, but I never had any real faith that she would. I guess I've just seen this scenario play out one too many times. In my experience, at least, it never ended how we all prayed each night that it would. After some more light conversation and updates on work, school, etc., Nicky pulled out his Tether pet. "Oh, how are you liking the new toy Grandma gave you?" Nori and I looked at each other, flabbergasted. Aki gave it to him. She could barely get out of bed, let alone go buy Nicky a toy from the store. "Aki, where did you get that toy from?" I asked. "Oh, I think one of the doctors gave it to me. Yes, it's something they're giving to a lot of the patients around here." It didn't make any sense. But before I could ask more questions, a nurse came in and told us our time was up, and that Aki needed to get some rest. Nori and I had a couple conversations, theorizing about why the hospital would have given her the toy. Maybe it was some charity connected to the hospital. Either way, we had more important things to worry about. So as the days went on, we let it go. Everything in our lives continued as normal, until the day Nicky lost his tether pet. It was last week, Friday. We were just sitting down for dinner, when Nicky came shuffling into the room, looking on the verge of tears. I can't find my tether pet." Nori was setting the table. She had really went all out for us that evening. "Okay, well, after dinner we can all take a look together to find it." Observing my son more closely, he wasn't just upset. He looked devastated. "You don't understand, Mum. She could die if I don't... At this point, I decided it was time to do some fathering. I took a knee. "Listen, Nicholas. I understand your toy is important to you, but it's just that, right? A toy. So let's sit down and eat the dinner Mama made us, and we can take a look after, okay?" I gave him that stern but tender look a father gives to ensure his way. Nicky nodded solemnly. I gave him a hug and a rub on the back. All throughout dinner, Nicky avoided our usual conversation starters. How was school? How was soccer practice? What do you want to do this weekend, etc. It was clear his mind was racing. It really rubbed me the wrong way. I don't remember ever being this stressed about my Tamagotchi. Just then, Nori's phone rang. She moved to the edge of the kitchen to take the call. I watched as her face slowly settled into a more serious expression as she listened to the other end. She responded with simple, short acknowledgements of what she was hearing as she walked over to the living room. She hung up and began to put on her coat. "Everything okay, honey?" I mouthed to her silently. "Aki?" She nodded. I think it should be fine. But if it becomes serious, I'll call you. Sounds good. I looked to Nikki and provided a distraction. Shall we look for Baba? Nikki nodded his head frantically, clearly unwilling to wait even a second longer. We looked around the house for quite some time. He was certain he had come home with it, so I was pretty determined to help him find it. It really felt like looking for a needle in a haystack, though. It wasn't until we were just about to give up that we found it, fallen beneath a shoe rack near his backpack. I thought for sure we'd have some small celebration of our efforts, but Nicky didn't even smile. He just picked it up and began to shake his head. Oh, man. What is it, buddy? Just a lot of build-up. Oh, of what? Poop. I laughed. It's not funny, Dad. She could have suffocated. From the poop? I laughed even harder. I've always had a stupid sense of humor. Nicky, presumably offended by me not taking him seriously, retreated up to his room. Alone, I decided this would be a good time to pop on an old samurai movie for my own selfish pleasures. Plus, a 3-hour runtime would keep me up long enough in case Nori called. But about halfway into the movie, she came through the door, sopping wet. I guess it had started to rain. She explained that everything ended up okay, a false alarm. I cut the movie short and we went to bed. As we laid together under the sheets, it was becoming clear she couldn't fall asleep. What's wrong, babe? When I got to Sinai today, Mum had an accident. Oh, like she shit herself. I wasn't sure how to respond, but luckily she continued. What if we get so old or sick that some stranger has to literally wipe our ass? I chuckled. I mean, we probably will. She rolled over and looked at me with playful concern. I don't want a stranger to wipe my ass. So you're saying it has to be me? She finally broke into a giggle. Well, how about we just promise to take care of each other then? I kissed her on the cheek. Deal. The next few days were normal. Well, the new normal. Nicky seemingly had lost all interest in having friends over with his ongoing Tether pet responsibilities. In fact, we even got an email from his soccer coach that he was absent-mindedly monitoring his device while on the sidelines. We used to get emails that he needed to stop hogging the ball so much. One evening, as we put him to bed, we explained that if his pet continued to affect his school participation, that we'd have no choice but to confiscate it from him. He appeared gravely disturbed by this notion. That'd make you a murderer. It was such an absurd thing to say, but he said it with such conviction. A conviction that I don't believe an 8-year-old should be able to feel. I'd soon understand why. Yesterday, around noon, Nicky's at school, Nori's at work. I get a call from the principal. Everything's fine. We just wanted to let you know that we needed to confiscate a toy from your son today, as it was distracting him from classwork. No parent ever enjoys these calls. I apologize. We've talked to him about this before. We'll have another chat about it tonight and make sure he gets the message. Would you like us to hold on to it for now, or send him home with it? God, I wish I could go back in time. I hold on to it. I knew Nikki would be furious, but as a father, I assumed this was a good opportunity for some tough love. Sure enough, when Nikki got home, he was in a panic. "Dad, they took my Tether pet away. She's gonna die, Dad. She's gonna die." I got on one knee and gave him my look. "Even if it dies, it'll be okay, because it's just a toy, right? You can always just start over." He started crying, as though really accepting the fact that this could really be the end for his pet. "It's not just a toy, Dad. It feels real. It is real." Right then, it all clicked. Nikki wasn't grieving a toy. He was grieving his grandma. I felt a wave of relief, now seemingly able to connect the dots that didn't align to me before. I decided to make this a teaching moment. "Nicholas, death is hard. We're all facing that with Grandma right now, right?" Nikki nodded knowingly. "But it's a natural part of life. It's not wrong or bad. It's okay. It can feel sad to let somebody go, but everything really will be okay." "Really?" "Come here, pal." I pulled him in for a hug. Death is what makes life special. It's what makes each moment count. It's a good thing. Snot was running down Nikki's nose onto my shoulder. "But I don't want Baba to die." I know. Just then, my phone began to ring. It was Nori. "Hey, hun, what's up?" "The hospital just called. I think it's happening." My heart stopped. I let go of Nikki. He stepped back, feeling my mood shift. "What did they say?" "She's refused to eat or drink all day, including her medications. Then she had a seizure, and has only been getting worse since then. Where's Nikki?" Why did this all feel familiar? This sensation. It was like deja vu. I could feel myself freezing up. Nikki tapped my knee. "Daddy, what's wrong?" I blurted out. "Honey, what was the name you called Mum as a baby?" Nori seemed frustrated that I had ignored her question. Gabba or Baba, I think. Babe, you and Nikki need to meet me at Mount Sinai." A jolt of fear struck down my spine. All of a sudden, my mind felt like it was racing ahead of me. My mother-in-law's mortality, being connected to a toy, was quite the leap. I know. But in that moment, it truly felt crystal clear. How could this happen? It felt like the most basic rules of reality were simply torn out from under me. I had to move, fast. "We're on our way." A wall of obsidian clouds lay heavy above our neighborhood. Nikki and I piled into the car. "Daddy, where are we going?" We're going to see Grandma. But we'd take a quick detour first." Nikki looked afraid. "Is Grandma gonna die, Daddy?" I couldn't respond. What could I even say at that point? I'm supposed to be the voice of reason, but I felt like I was losing it. In fact, it had started raining, and it took me 6 blocks to realize I didn't have my wipers on. We pulled up to the school entrance. "Nikki, wait here." I leaped out of the car before Nikki could question my actions. I ran up to the glass double doors, pounding my fists in the rain. "Hey, is anybody in there?" Nothing. I ran around the building towards the gymnasium. Locked. I was really starting to feel hopeless. I noticed a window slightly ajar on the second story of the building. I tried scaling the wall, but the downpour made it impossible. Fuck. This was so stupid. It occurred to me that this really could just be a crazy coincidence. That my mother-in-law was dying right now, and I was here in the rain trying to break into an elementary school. But then I noticed a tetherball stand, held down by a weighted tire. I ran over to it, flipped it on its side, and with all my might, pushed it towards the base of where the window was. I got a good grip on it, and started to climb. If I could balance on the top, I should just be able to reach the windowsill. The rain made my hands slippery, but I just focused on Aki, on Baba. I felt a bellow of thunder rumble through the sky, and knew my time was running out. Just as I reached the top, I heard, "Daddy? Daddy?" Nikki was standing at the base of the tetherball pole, clearly scared, drenched in rain. I called out to him, "Wait right there. I'll be back." Just then, a loud crack of blinding white light, and then total black. I don't remember anything after that. Just some vague limbo of nothing. I woke up laid up in a hospital bed. My body was aching all over. Craning my neck around, I pieced together that I was in Mount Sinai Hospital in Queens. I had no idea how much time had passed. Nori and Nikki entered the room shortly after. My mind began to fill up with questions, but I was too weak to get them out. I just laid there in a daze. Nori started crying. Nikki stood like a statue, just staring at the floor. I felt like Lazarus, back from the dead. The first question I managed to ask was if Aki was still with us. She wasn't. A nurse joined us and explained to me that I had been struck by lightning on that tetherball pole. They'd need to run some additional testing that evening. My family doesn't know it yet, but I am now suffering from electrical cardiomyopathy, aka my heart is fucked. As I record this, Nori and Nikki are asleep under the roof of our humble home. But I'm still here. I have no idea when I'll get out. And the more I look into my condition, the more I wonder if I even will. But this isn't the reason I'm sharing any of this now. It's because of what just happened to me, only a couple hours ago now. A man came into my room while I was sleeping, unannounced. He looked like a doctor, but didn't state himself as one. Simply, he placed his hand over mine and said, "Give it to someone you trust." Then he left. I could feel a soft plastic object left behind my palm, but it was too dark to see, when suddenly a little display lit up. 8-bit text floated across the bright screen. Fafa. The text faded, leaving only my own bloodshot eyes gazing back at myself. Nicholas used to call me that. I feel so lost right now. I feel so hopeless. I don't know what any of this means, or what I am supposed to do. If anyone has gone through something like this, or knows somebody that has, please tell me. I feel so alone. I don't want to die. I love you, Nori. I love you, Nicholas. I hope you enjoyed the story. For more content, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Your support keeps the shadows dark. If you want more Sinister, links to my social media and Spotify can be found in the description, unless you're already there. Don't forget to sign up to the Patreon, where you can see all the content a day earlier, and an exclusive video every month once we hit 20 patrons. Until next time, keep your lights low, eyes open, and your doors locked.